Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. National Day Camel Race competition concludes in the Wilaya of Aden. Oman oil price continues to increase, exceeding $48 per barrel. And the UN Security Council members hold a closed-door meeting to express support for an African Union-led effort to deploy 3 high-level envoys to Ethiopia as the Ethiopian leader rejects international interference in war. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The 3-day camel race competition was concluded in the Wilaya of Aden on the occasion of the National Day. The competition took place in Bashar Race Track. The event was organized by the Office of the Deputy Prime Minister for Relations, International Cooperation Affairs and His Majesty's Special Representative in cooperation with the Omani Camel Racing Federation. On the 3rd day, 15 rounds were held during the morning and night times. The race witnessed a wide and fierce competition from Royal Camel Corps, Bashar camels, as well as from the camel breeders and owners in Oman and from GCC countries. Over the past 5 decades, the Governorate of North Sharqiya witnessed tremendous transformation and developments. Achievements included the Sharqiya Express Road that facilitates traveling and connects the cities and villages along the road, the fully equipped university and public schools, and the accessible health services in all wilayas of North Sharqiya Governorate. The march of the development will continue for the Governorate to raise the standards of living for the community and establish further institutions and centres for recreation, education, sports and cultural activities. The 12th round of the Arab Water Ministerial Council held its meeting today through a video call. The meeting focused on water issues in the Arab world as well as water-related studies. It reviewed the implementation of the Strategic Water Security Plan in the Arab region to face the challenges, in addition to following up Sustainable Development Plan 2030. The meeting also discussed enhancing Arab cooperation in managing water resources, and it further shed light on some experiments and projects in this field. The Sultanate was represented in the meeting by His Excellency Dr. Saud bin Hamoud Al-Habsi, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources. Oman oil January 2021 price reached $48 and 23 cents per barrel. Oman oil price rose by $2 and 15 cents. The average price of Oman oil December 2020 delivery reached $41.11 per barrel, thus $49.01 lower than the price of November 2020 delivery. Still to come in our news bulletin. The Photographic Society of Oman launches Rhymes from the Sky book. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Diplomats yesterday said UN Security Council members in a closed-door meeting expressed support for an African Union-led effort to deploy 3 high-level envoys to Ethiopia. But Ethiopia has said envoys cannot meet with the TPLF leaders. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell said after meeting with the Ethiopian's Foreign Minister that this conflict is already seriously destabilizing the region. In the meantime, the National Security Advisor for U.S. President-elect Joe Biden, Jack Sullivan, said both sides should immediately begin dialogue facilitated by the AU. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of people have been killed in 3 weeks of fighting. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is rejecting growing international consensus for dialogue, and a halt to deadly fighting in the Tigray region is unwelcomed, saying his country will handle the conflict on its own as a 72-hour surrender ultimatum runs out of today. The government, led by Abiy, last year's Nobel Peace Prize winner, has warned Mekelle's residents to move away from the Tigray People's Liberation from leaders or there will be no mercy, language that the United Nations Human Rights Chief and others have warned could lead to further violations of international humanitarian law. Communications remain almost completely severed to the Tigray region of some 6 million people, and it is not clear how many people in the Mekelles are aware of the warnings and threat of artillery fire. Meanwhile, 3 African Union envoys, ex-President Joaquim Chissano of Mozambique, Alan Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia, and Kgalema Motlanthe of South Africa, were due into Ethiopia's capital Addis Ababa today. The novel coronavirus has killed more than 1.41 million people since the outbreak emerged in China last December. At least 59.8 million cases of coronavirus have been registered. Of these, around 38 million are now considered recovered. The United States is the worst affected country, with 259,976 deaths from 12.6 million cases. After the U.S., the hardest hit countries are Brazil with 170,115 deaths, India 134,699, Mexico 102,739, and the United Kingdom with 55,838 deaths. Europe has recorded 384,397 deaths, Asia 190,015, and Middle East 75,534 deaths, and Africa 50,307 deaths. In a downbeat assessment of progress in post-Brexit trade talks, EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen warned today that any deal must not undermine the EU single market. Von der Leyen, head of the European Commission, repeated Brussels' warning that Britain would not enjoy the benefits of EU membership from the outside. There will be a clear difference between being a full member of the Union and being just a valued partner. She warned that British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's tactics had shown that the need for clear rules. London has been resisting signing up the EU's vision of a post-Brexit level playing field with the trade penalties if either side diverges from agreed standards. Johnson has also introduced a draft law to govern the UK internal market that his own government admits would breach promises made in Britain's EU withdrawal treaty. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi will meet Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga today, marking Beijing's first high-level contact with Japan's new leader. Wang met his Japanese counterpart Toshimitsu Motegi yesterday, where they agreed to cooperate on trade and fighting the coronavirus, but maintained their stances on territorial disputes, leaving a security concern unresolved. Japan and China agreed to resume coronavirus-hit businesses travel this month and to continue talks on disputed isles in the East China Sea, while Suga has steered clear of the harsh anti-China rhetoric used by Japan's ally, the United States. He has moved the counter to its influence by deepening ties with Australia, and choosing Vietnam and Indonesia for his first overseas trip. To meet the demand of healthcare institutions, blood donors are needed as the supply of blood has been affected recently and it has come down by 40% and is likely to continue given the long weekend. More details in the following report.
Blood supplies in the healthcare facilities is severely low, but despite COVID-19 concerns, people can still donate safely. To meet the demand of healthcare institutions, urgent blood donors are needed as the supply of blood has been badly affected recently and it has come down by 40% and is likely to continue given the long weekend. The Central Blood Bank has called upon both citizens and expatriates to support the central system for where blood units are supplied to all healthcare facilities which need urgent blood. Dr. Zainab bint Salim Al-Aramiyah, Director of Blood Banks Services at the Ministry of Health, said during long weekends the center tends to see less number of donors. On a given week, the blood bank needs anything around 500 to 700 units, whereas the supply is not at par with the requirement. The number of donors is less as some of the donors cannot donate for some reasons, according to Dr. Zainab. The donor is not able to visit the center either because he is tested positive for COVID-19 or is afraid of contracting the virus if they are exposed to medical instruments, which is in fact an unfounded fear. The blood bank has also renewed its call to organizations and NGOs in the country to consider blood donation camps in view of the depleting stocks. The department has taken all necessary measures to protect donors visiting the Central Blood Bank, including social distancing policy. So let's donate blood of all types to ensure the right blood is available to everyone who needs it. Remember that healthcare facilities would require enough of the right types of blood to meet day-to-day patients' need and to cope with emergencies. I'm Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television.
A new photographic book titled Rhymes from the Sky was released recently by the Photographic Society of Oman. The book is a collection of photos taken by professional photographer Khamis Al-Muharbi over the course of 23 years of service. The themes include stunning natural landscapes from the wilayas of Oman and modern Oman, detecting 4 pages at least for each wilaya. Khamis Al-Muharbi was not a photographer in the beginning, but his life changed during a rescue mission in 1997 as he started taking pictures aboard a Royal Oman police helicopter. His Excellency Sayyid Ibrahim bin Saeed Al-Busaidi, Minister of State and Governor of Musandam, commended the book, saying that it is a good one, documenting the features of Oman and is a visual documentation of the development of all wilayas of Oman from the sky. His Excellency concluded his statement by saying that it is an important book for the coming generations as it narrates Oman's civilizations over the last 3 decades. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. National Day Camel Race competition concludes in the Wilaya of Adam. Oman oil price continues to increase, exceeding $48 per barrel. And the UN Security Council members hold a closed-door meeting to express support for an African Union-led effort to deploy 3 high-level envoys to Ethiopia as the Ethiopian leader rejects international interference in war. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.